anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're a little early, so I just wanted to open it up. There's quite a few here already, and I wanted to see if anybody had any questions or comments, just kind of about the technical stuff or whatever. If you do, I guess I hope you all got the email, and I'll explain a few things, but there's a way to put your hand up if you want to say something or ask something. You go down to reactions and you hit that, and it says raise hand. And then when that happens, we'll see that and talk. First of all, can y'all hear me? Can you? Okay, great, good, thank you. So, okay. Let's see. Now I have to find out. Kimberly, how do we unmute somebody who has their hand up? Can you do that?
I can, or they can at the bottom controls bar. There's a little microphone in the far left. It's the first control. You can unmute yourself. And if I see that somebody's struggling, I can pop their mic off or on.
Okay. So does everybody have the same screen? If they're, well, depends on what view they've got. If you put your view in gallery, you'll see a lot of boxes with people in them. And there's one in the upper left-hand corner. I don't know your name, but I see you have your hand up. Yeah, in the red, yeah. In the lower left-hand corner, there should be a mute button that you can hit, and that will unmute you.
There you go.
And Paul, at the end of reactions at the very bottom, it's a virtual, like an emoji hand that you can put up, and it will advance you into the queue. So it's kind of in order of received or in order of hand up. Because if you're a few windows back and we may not see you.
So Paula,
I cannot raise somebody's hand. I can lower it, but I can't raise it.
Paula, you're second, but I'm still up in the upper left-hand corner. It looks like you're still having trouble unmuting. So do you see a mute microphone down in the lower left or anywhere on your screen?
You're good. She's muted.
I can see it.
Oh, you talked to Paula?
She's on an iPad. Okay, let me see. Let me ask to unmute, and then let's see if it pulls up the box so she can see it. There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ken.
Yeah.
I'm from long ago. I was at the Pocket Ranch years and years ago, but I saw Barbara in April when she was in Alameda at her daughter's, I think. I went over there and saw her. And I guess my question was, I have a picture I wanted to share. Should I do it now or?
Kimberly, can you help her with that?
I've got it right. I'll just show it on the screen.
Okay. There's a way you can put stuff on the chat, but I don't know if you can do that, but
Here's Barbara and I
yeah,
in April.
nice.
Yeah, I just love this picture. I'm so glad that I got to see her because I hadn't seen her for a while. And it was just lovely seeing her. She's just such a beautiful person and lovely person. And
35.
I wanted to share that picture because she just looks so sweet there. You know, she's just a wonderful person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Sure.
He was. That's great.
And
Thank
can we get, may we listen to your recording or do we have to do our own? Are you going to ever?
Yeah, the recording will be available. We're doing that because some people couldn't make it.
Okay.
So people will be able to somehow, I'm not sure how, but they'll have access to it. Yeah.
Great. That was my question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Kenny.
You bet. Okay, Paula. You're still muted.
Hello, Ken.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay. So I just want to take off the Patterson off my name so that I show up. And I forget how to do that.
I don't know.
I think an alien just talked to me.
Yeah, I heard something too.
I didn't. I changed it.
Oh,
Oh, thank you. Thanks,
Great.
Kimberly.
great. We got a couple more minutes. So we haven't started yet. But if you got any questions, technical stuff that I'm going to go over as soon as we start.
Kenny,
Yes, Margot,
I hope I'm on. I don't know.
you're on.
I want to tell you, I had fun trying to get on. Took me 30 minutes and I just barely made it.
Okay, well, it's still early. We haven't quite started, but we're just taking technical kind of questions, anything right now.
My watch says it's 1 minute to 1.
Yep.
Okay. So I want to tell you how wonderful you are.
Well, thank you. You too.
And Paula too. And
Thank you.
Kimberly, you sweet darling. I've been trying to get a hold of you for days.
Okay, well, it's going to be 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock or whatever, wherever you are. It is now. So we're going to start. I want to welcome everybody, first of all. It's kind of solemn. It's a time to grieve, but it's also a time to celebrate. Just having known Barbara, I think she was pretty important to a lot of us. So what we'd like to do is just, this is for all of you, all of us, to just share anything you want about Barbara, any memories, any little stories, what she meant to you, any special time. However, in this kind of doesn't quite go, but we need to try to limit it to no more than 3 minutes. I'm sure some people won't want to say anything, but there's a lot of people here. And we'd like to have everybody get a chance who wants to say something. So we want to limit it to 3 minutes. I'm sure some of you got the email that Kimberly sent out that had instructions, but basically, if you do want to say something, then you go down to at least on computers and on my computer, you go down to where it says reactions on the bottom of the screen. and you click that, and it says raise hand, and you just hit that, and then the hand will go up on your screen, and you'll go to the front of the line, or behind anybody who's already done that. So if you want to get in line, you can do that now. You can do that anytime. Okay, good. Some people are getting in line. And I will, we'll start that in a minute. Let's see. This is being recorded, and that's because some people couldn't make it. And they want to be able to, share in this or see it. So if that's a problem for you, there's a way, and that came in the instructions Kimberly gave, but where you can block out your face, basically your picture. Let's see. I think that's it. It's just we're just going to share. There's also the chat on the right. Mine's on the right of my screen, and you can put things in there. I see some things I haven't looked yet. That's sweet. But you can, if you have questions, or you can, if you don't want to talk, but you want to share something, a memory or a picture or anything, you can put that in there also. Let's see. Like I said, we want to try to keep it to 3 minutes. I don't know if 100 people are going to want to share, or if 3 people are going to want to share. So we'll start with 3 minutes. Obviously, it doesn't have to be 3 minutes. It could be 10 seconds, but I want you all to have a chance. I think that's it. Recording. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna just take the first person in line, and you can take it away. I guess, Kimberly, you can unmute them, or do they unmute themselves?
What I can do is ask them to unmute if the control got lost, and then they'll see the option displayed for them quickly. So, or they can mute themselves. That's whichever. If they can find it, great. If I see them struggling, I'll send them the control.
Okay. All righty. So let's see, Paula, you're in the first in line, but I think that was from before, or did you have your hand up?
No, that was from before.
Okay.
I mean, really, all I have to say now is I projected my good mother. There wasn't much of my good mother, but I projected her all on Barbara. So I've lost my good mom, as well as losing our Barbara. Fini.
Thanks. Ron, okay. You're up. You're muted.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. I wrote a poem, and here it is. We're in different time zones, and it's autumn where you are, spring here. Each of us in the middle of the changing of the seasons. I meant to call you a few days ago after the algorithm asked if I knew you, suggesting we become friends. I couldn't understand it. We already are. Until the news came last night. You were gone. Almost the same as the last time, as the time we last arranged to meet. A glitch and 8,000 miles, all those flights and rental cars with no result. That night, alone in a motel just down the highway, I fell upon a great truth and consolation. Yes, I wanted us to meet once more in person. But the truth is, you old shaman, you knew that I didn't need to see you. You jumped inside me way back when, and now part of you is part of me, an inner treasure through every season.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron. Okay. Herb, you're up.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for organizing this. It's hard to speak. She meant so much to me and still does. I first came out to Star when in California back in 1990, and it was a transformational month. Though I remember the most transformational moment I had after speaking with Barbara and getting this incredible insight. An hour later, I experienced the first literal earthquake in my life, and I don't think that was coincidental. But then whatever benefit I had, which was enormous, about 15, 20 years later, it sort of wore off. And so I thought I need to go back, and it was Arizona at that point. And I was so eager to see Barbara again and to read her book, which she had talked about in California. And so when I first met her, when I got to Arizona, I said, "Where's your book?" And she said, "Oh, I'm still working on it," like 15 years later. And I got angry at her. And I said, "This is too important. You have to finish it. I'll help you if you like." And so I flew out after that, some months later, and spent a few days with Barbara at the ranch. And it was such an amazingly magical time just to hang out with her in the absence of a group and whatever, helping her find her computer files, which were in total disarray in terms of the book files, even after working on it for a decade or two. And so I played at least a tiny part in helping the book get out. And I'm so happy to be here today and so eager to hear what other people's recollections are of this absolutely unique and amazing woman who transformed my life.
Thank you. Okay, John Ruane.
Wow, thank you, Ron. I didn't really expect you to call on me, at least not so soon. And so I'm gonna, actually, I'm just finishing my lunch, which I haven't paid for, so they're looking at me. You want to come back to me a little bit later?
Sure, yeah.
That would be better. I'll be better situated to just
it.
say a few cogent words.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And can you mute? Yeah, thank you. Karen, hi, you're up.
Hi, Kenny. God, it's so great to see you. It's so great to see everyone. Well, there's just so much I can say, but I guess I'll just begin with, like, Barbara changed midwifery for me. She changed birth. She changed how I teach neonatal resuscitation. She changed my whole perspective of how the world existed. And I'm so grateful for her. And I'm so grateful for all the people that have been able to receive her information vicariously through me. God, I'm just so touched that I got to have a little piece of Barbara. And we really shared a love of animals and rescuing animals and saving animals and talking about dogs all the time. And oh God, just being with Barbara, staying with her in Amsterdam, I was so tired from traveling. This is a little funny. I said, "Oh, Barbara, you have to watch this show. We could get one English show on the video, on the TV in the room." It was after the APA conference in Nijmegen. And I don't know why, but I put on Legally Blonde. It was just so light. And poor Barbara watched the whole thing and was just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe we watched that." But it was this really fun and joyful experience to this amazing woman. And I'm just, what can I say? I'm so grateful about Barbara and everything that I learned from her. And I, to this day, share that with everybody that takes my class. So I'm I'm just indebted to Barbara and to all of you. And I'm really, really glad to see all of you. And Margot, I see the top of your head. You were the shaping of all that I do. So thank you. Thank you, Kenny. It's so great to see you.
Thanks, Karen. Michael and Ron. Joe, sorry, Michael, you're up.
I'm, of course, I'm really grateful to be here and be a part of this. I met Barbara at Allison's place in 2003. At the end of the weekend, Joe and I were going to go to Star, and I went in May. Joe went in August, and it was just amazing spending the weekend with her. But then doing Star and what that it was a new demarcation line in my life, and it was what happened was just thank you, Barbara, for being for doing that and for getting other staff people. And it's amazing being a staff person with her and what she would do in birth regressions and where she would go. And anyway, I'm just very grateful for this person in my life.
Yeah, and I am as well. And in particular, during my first Star, Barbara and I were having a talk, and I was telling her unsure about my path and where I should be. I'm working in a software company, which was definitely not fulfilling. And she said, Joe, you're a spiritual healer. And when she said that, like lightning, and it just resonated completely. And so in 68 days, when I get the heck out of the software company, I will be heading down the path of being a healer of the spirit and seeing what that turns into. So I am very, very grateful for all that Barbara has given to me and to all of us.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Sky.
I have no intention to keep it together. I got to tell Barbara to her face about the impact that she's had on my life, which is completely changed everything. But I did everything I could to let her know, which you can see here today, the ripples of her life and her life's work, her light, just how much it passed on and carries on. And I said that in regards to my trauma past, because, the trauma gets passed on. And then there's Barbara and her work, which stops all that and does the opposite, because we often talk about the negative impact and how it passes on by generation. But her positive impact is staggering, because it just goes from person to person to person and generation to generation to generation. And I'm so grateful for her. And I see the power of her light. And I feel very grateful that I always recognized her as sacred, because I knew the work that she was doing. I knew that she was a sacred light and to be treated such. And the thing I'm grateful for the most is I finished my Star and I came home and I turned right back around and I drove to her place and just got to spend time with her. Star is incredible and the facilitators are incredible, and it completely changed my life. But there was one moment at the door to the dining hall. I loved the way she said, okay, like with the next thing you have to do, because you get through, you just go, what are we doing now? Okay. And I love to have the honor of walking her in the arm. And she just stopped at the door and she just looked at me and she goes, you're a good man. And that meant everything to me. And the thing that Barbara gave to me was family. The first, I've never experienced, I have great loves in my life and wonderful people, but she actually gave me family. And she looked at me one of the last times that I got to speak with her. And she said, you know, the first time I heard you speak up, I just knew you were one of us. And that's her heart. She just is such a beacon of love. And I'm so incredibly grateful. And I see that beacon. We've all answered that call here. And so thank you so much. I really appreciate this time. Thank you.
Thanks, Sky. Shantidasa, your turn.
Am I unmuted? I am so grateful to be part of this, and I feel privileged to be celebrating Barbara's life and honored to see and experience her wonderful work. It's definitely changed me and transformed me, and I don't lose sight of that it's a lot to do with Barbara, really helping to engage and make me feel like it's okay to express my inner child, listen to my inner child, and honor that. So I'm really honored to be here and privileged to speak my love for her and the value she's had. It's beautiful to witness a non-wasted life and to be the recipient of it as well. So thank you so much. And thank you for putting this event together. I'm happy to have been invited.
Thank you, Shantidasa. Okay, Ian, your turn.
Hi, Ken. I just spent the emotion just really hit. But I went into STAR about 5 years ago after a very traumatic ending of my 25-year marriage with a self-inflicted wound. I did it myself in a way. I came in with a deep shame, not knowing where the hell I was going or why. I went on a referral. I didn't know anything about it. And first day, Kenny started guiding me, helping me. And then a few days later, Brian, in the family reenactment, that was a really profound event for me. And at some point, I'm watching this woman named Barbara. One of my favorite things is watching her carry that huge suitcase, dragging it into the front of the room. And somebody tries to help her and she goes, no, I'm doing this. And then she pulls out these horrible, ugly bricks and saying, it's just beautiful. Just talking about her luggage and baggage. And that just struck me. And I love, Sky, how you mentioned how it ripples out. Over the years, I'll pull out my workbook. I had hours and hours. I'd go early in the morning and work in the art room, and the profound nature of the work she was doing and the rebirthing and playing in the sand pile. I selfishly used every moment I could of her time, and just am so gifted to know somebody who was so free and open with her sharing of healing. And it has certainly rippled out through me as well. So thank you for reminding us of that, Sky. And thank you, Barbara, for being such a beautiful, inspiring human being and attracting people like Ken and Brian and the others in the staff. So thank you to all of you. Thank you, Barbara.
Thanks, Ian. Jed.
Thanks, Kenny.
You're up.
Yeah, sure. For me, I guess the real introduction to Barbara for me, it was back in '93 when my dad came home with a teddy bear after going STAR for whatever 21 days. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? Why are you holding a bear? And it was an interesting experience for me having both my parents went to STAR before I had heard about it. And I think I met Barbara, it was 99, I think. She was doing Samurai in Atlanta and watching her. And there was something interesting. There was an intensity about her, but also, there's everyone like a wisdom and intensity about her. And I went in 2001 and I had the life-changing event that all of us here have had. What struck me with Barbara, I met her when she was 72. But still, she was in full sail, in full command of her powers. She was amazing. For the next, I guess, 10 or so years, what struck me was just how generous she was with all of us. She gave so much. At one point later, she was having some financial problems. I'm like, Barbara, you got to charge for your work. You can't just give it all away. That was, trying to help her with that. But with me, I feel like, she was a great mentor, and she put me on a path like so many of us, and it's just following the next steps. But it was like, this book, I want you to read this book, or I want you to go to this conference, or do you want to come out with me and meet Joe Pierce or Bruce Lipton, or and just volunteering, just opening up this thing I think it might help you or benefit you in some way. Before I was even part of staff on STAR, and I know she had so many people that she led down these paths toward themselves, toward their development. She nurtured so many lives. And that really is it. It's her generosity that I will always take away. And the fact that, she was giving webinars at 92, and she was contributing all the way through. And that, if I could do that, my God, like what a life that would be, to keep giving and contributing all the way through. So I'll always be in debt to her, and my life is just so much better for having met her.
Thanks, Jed. Vilma, your turn, Vilma.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see people that I know and knew, and a lot of new people to me. I love being here. There I was on the edge of retirement in Wisconsin, a successful psychotherapist, well-known with a good reputation. I had everything I needed, and I was profoundly depressed and didn't understand why. Somehow I found Barbara and went out to Pocket Ranch, where she was then, and did some individual work with her while a STAR was going on. And since we all ate in the same dining room, as you remember, that big pigskin covered dining table, I was depressed, but I was still a therapist, and I could see this group getting better by the day. And I said to Barbara, "What is that?" And she said, "Oh, that's STAR." And I said, "Well, I want some of that because that looks good to me." So she told me when the next STAR was coming, and I came to the next STAR. I see Helen Kinchelow here. She was my reader. Barbara gave her all the hard people, and I was hard. Anyway, then I became a reader myself for a number of years, 5, 7, something like that. Then I helped her to write some of her training materials, and I became a trainer of readers. And I always wanted her to write her book. Man, she needed to write that book. She was the only one who could do it. But her therapy, she was an intuitive therapist. She was a therapist like a jazz musician does music. She had a main theme that she carried with her all the time, that had something to do with "we are all great spirits" or something like that. But she improvised with each person and made it personal and unique for each of us, her work with us. It was astounding to watch her work, and very moving. After becoming one of her therapists or staff, we became good friends. I last saw her this year in April when she visited California, and she came by and visited me for an afternoon. And I'm just immensely grateful for that. We were the same age, roughly. And she is forever with me. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Vilma. John, you're next.
I'm unmuted. Wow, well, I had to follow Wilma because Wilma was my reader, savior. I didn't want to be there. Wilma and Barbara took me from not wanting to be there to not wanting to leave. And I've never left. Pocket Ranch is forever my safe place in the world. I'm just very happy to have had the experience. That was back in '93. That was, wow, 28 years ago. Anyways, I'm so happy to see Vilma. I also saw Margot earlier. She was one of the staff while I was there. And we're all going to miss Barbara a lot. And I'm glad I have a chance to say hello to everyone.
Thank you, John. I just want to remind people, sometimes everybody's muted, but sometimes people put comments in the chat section, you know, just to people, thanking people for what they're sharing. So just to point that out for everybody. Okay, Darcy, you're next.
I did not realize I was going to be this emotional already. Whew. Okay. I'm sure that, oh my God, I can't even talk. Okay. I'm sure most of you can relate, but this experience saved my life. I would not be here. This was my last ditch effort going to STAR. I'd given up. I tried everything, therapy, and I was like, all right, we're going to try this week in the desert and see what happens. And it saved me, the people that I met there, the relationships that I had. I found myself again, and it was amazing. I remember a lot of things, but I remember she did this presentation with all these different pictures of trees all around the property. And her favorite one was this one that was growing out of a rock. And she loved that it was so beautiful because it came out of something so harsh, and that something could thrive. And it came from this like hard exterior, and that beauty can grow in anything, and that we all can thrive, we all can grow. And that was just her ability to see the beauty in everything. And I can see that picture clear as day in my head of that tree growing out of that rock. And I feel like that tree growing out of that rock, I think we all are. So I'll never look at a tree the same way again. So yeah, I just can't say enough about how much she meant to me and what that experience did. And I'm sure, yeah. Whew, all right, that's it.
Thank you, Darcy. Helen, your turn.
Am I there? Hello, everybody. Ken, hi. Vilma, hi. So many wonderful faces. Well, I was from the early days of Barbara's work, and I stumbled through my own my own STAR, and immediately was asked to be on staff. And being on staff, it was such a privilege, all those years, all those stars. It was a real privilege to work with and alongside Barbara. And that was my therapy. I learned from Barbara, from her process, from being present for so many people, opening up their hearts. And I just learned something from every person. So we received immensely from Barbara's. Her heart was open to us, to everyone. And it's up to us to pass it on for us to be open to other people and pass on her work. Thank you.
Thanks, thanks, Ellen. Okay, Mark, your turn.
Hold on. Okay. I'm Barbara's son, Mark. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? I think it's wonderful, all the things you guys are saying about my mom. And I'm so glad that she was in all of your lives. She is a very special person, obviously, to me and my family, my 3 kids and my wife. And we miss her dearly. And thank you for everything nice you're saying about my mother. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mark. We loved her. Okay, John, you're back. I think. Yeah. Okay.
I am. So thank you, Kenny. My star experience is probably limited, compared to most of the other people on this Zoom. However, when I first heard about Barbara, real quickly, a AA sponsor had said, how beneficial it was to he and his family, and I was very skeptical, being basically, an Eastern chauvinist. I thought, what is this kind of new agey stuff? It must be California, and I wasn't really a believer in, that other people could, help others to heal. I basically, thought that, whatever happened, it was each person's job to just take care of it, right? And so I didn't realize, the power of connection. So when I heard about Barbara's passing, and having actually spent a little bit of time, trying to find out who this woman was and why there was such high praise, and this is before the news of her passing, I knew that she was a special person, and I knew that because of the people that I have met. I had the chance this summer to be on a support group that some of the facilitators, and Kenny and Michael and Amelia, I don't know if Amelia's here, but and just some really, really wonderful people. So I just wanted to just affirm that the effort to heal oneself, that is so often fails because we fail to recognize the fundamental nature of our own interconnectedness. And that anybody and any effort in that direction is really, really important. So that's the motivation, that's the feeling that I had, and that's why I'm here. And I don't really have any, I never had a chance, I never met Barbara, but I certainly feel like I know her through all of you. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Bill, you're next. Bill Schwartz.
This has been wonderful to hear all of your testimonies. I know, I remember Helen Kincheloe from way back in the 70s and in Palo Alto, and Bob, I remember Bob, but that was before there was a star. And I actually, Barbara took Star from the same man that I took Star at the same time. And my wife Tricia is on this Zoom as well. So the three of us took Star at the same time from a man. And Barbara took, just basically stole it from him. We all stole it from him. We ran a Star in the North Bay area. She started hers in the South Bay area. And, this all goes back to a man by the name of Bob Hoffman, who had some vision of his psychiatrist, whose name was Hoffman. And he developed the Fisher-Hoffman process. And that's still going on in San Rafael, California, under a different name. Well, anyway, so Barbara was a wonderful person to know. When she stumbled onto this process, it was named by somebody who stole it from Bob Hoffman, and then Barbara stole it from him, and we stole it from him, but she just went with it and made it into what you've experienced more recently. Well, to give you, this is going to be a reflection. None of you, maybe Helen would remember, and Mark, of course. Hi, Mark. Barbara was so enthusiastic about this. She wanted to build a building to accommodate her teachings of Star. So that I'm sitting, if you can see behind me, this is the image of the interior of that little building that she built out behind her house in Palo Alto. Yeah. And I designed it. It accommodated about 40 or 50 people, but when they're all beating on pillows, and it's pretty noisy. So I was concerned about that and the neighbors. She's right next to neighboring houses. So I thought, okay, if we dig down and depress it in the ground and take the spoils that you have dug up and ring it with a berm of earth, that would muffle the sounds emanating from this little meeting house or Star building. It's called a Star building. So that's what we did. So we dug down, built it low. And when you walk in from her house, you go down those steps outside, come down the steps and turn into the building. You go down and to the left. You know what that is? I only learned it later on. That's a Jungian symbol for reaching down into the subconscious. If you're with a Jungian psychologist and you're explaining a dream, they'll say, well, okay, go down and turn left. What do you get? So people did that when they came into this little building. And the roof was very broadly sheltering, like a sheltering protective wings of a hen protecting her chicks, So it was a very comfortable place to be, to do that work. And I don't think any of you ever saw this building, so I thought I'd show it to you. Yeah.
Thank you. I never did. Looks nice. Okay, Chuck, you're next.
Thank you for this opportunity. Some of you know I work with Barbara at Pocket Ranch, and she drove me crazy, literally, not literally, but Barbara was like trying to contain a tornado. You just can't contain it because it goes everywhere. And my job was to manage the ranch, and she just drove me crazy. But aside from that, because she was who she was, et cetera, and the part that was amazing about her for me was her fearlessness. Her fearlessness, we worked with a number of people who had personality disorders. Barbara didn't care which personality showed up. It was like she was there. And if another one showed up, she was there. And she was just fearless. It was like, I had never seen anything like that before, because when people I will say, act out. It's scary sometimes. It's really frightening, and not for her. She stood right there in the face of it the whole time, and really was able to connect, I think, with the wounded soul of people and make that okay in a certain kind of way. So I will never forget that. That fearless, that little woman who was just fearless in the face of very scary circumstances, and brought many people through it, to say the least. So it was really a privilege to work with her, to see that, even though I couldn't contain it, and she drove me crazy. I had to go to therapy. No, I'm just kidding. But she was an amazing woman and made a huge contribution, and I'm pleased to have been part of that. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Krista.
Hi, I'm Krista, and thank you, Ken, for putting this together. I really love hearing from every one of you. I attended STAR program many years ago and have spent a lot of time one-on-one with Barbara. And I'll just share a little story. It was a private moment, but it was my experience in a birth regression where it was just me and Barbara. And I was doing this work, and out of nowhere, Barbara says, it's just, to me, it came out of just left field. She says, "Tell me about your bird, Buddy." And this is Buddy here, if you can see him. And Buddy is a rescued cockatoo he was wild caught, sadly, and he's been with me since 1991. And she wanted to know the story about this bird. And so I told her, I started talking about Buddy, and I wasn't looking at her, and I was just talking, and then there was silence. She didn't say anything, and I was done talking, and I looked over, and I know many of you here have seen this expression on Barbara's face before. Her jaw was just on the floor, and she's just like, and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh my God." She says, "That's the work we do here." She wanted to know how I had worked with this bird, and I had no idea why she even wanted to know this story. And I was like, "Oh wow, really?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I still have this bird. He's gonna, I don't know, he'll probably be here after I go, and they can live to 100 years. But anyway, she's just been such an inspiration and influence, and she's had a tremendous impact in my life, as I know she has many people here. And it's nice to see some of the familiar faces here, some from Atlanta, where I am. She's really inspired my work. I'm in my studio, and I have these hammocks, these swings behind me. And this work that I do, in part, is really largely inspired by her. And so I'm just very grateful for Barbara and also the community. I feel that she's really left quite a legacy here that will continue. And I'm just glad to be connected with all of you here today. And I love seeing the hand raises go up, and I love hearing the stories. And I don't know when this is supposed to end today. I don't know if I saw the end time, but I hope to be here throughout, the whole duration. And thank you so much for hosting this.
Thanks, Krista. I'm not sure how long it's going to go. Kind of depends on the sharing. So it's kind of open-ended right now. Okay, Chris.
Yeah, hi, I'm Chris. I never got to meet Barbara personally, but back in what was it, May of this year, Zoom. Zoom. Star put out some things on Zoom or email, and I was on programs on Zoom. We could participate in, and in one of them, I got to speak. We were all talking, and I got to speak with Barbara, and it was about something that I was doing or what was going on. And so it's kind of like a little mini, work with Barbara. But so when I'm speaking to people, I really like this, say better than talking on a phone. I like to be in the presence of people, because there's a lot more to communication. But even though we were doing this over cyberspace, it's like there was this, there really was a certain presence that she had that I felt like there was this, a connection there, when we were talking on Zoom. Yeah, so I went to Zoom Star in 2019, and it was an amazing experience. I felt like I gained a bunch of new wonderful brothers and sisters and became part of this, this family. Um, Something that I did there that was, I think, I don't know, monumental. During the birth regression, I shed a lot of tears, and I was at this one point I was crying, but I was crying, and I explained during that time that I was crying because I was happy, and I commented that it was the first time I ever cried in my life because I was happy. And so yeah, it was just a great time, and I picked up a lot of tools. I learned about attachment. That's one of the things that it talks about on the intro, and that's huge. It has been huge for me to work with that and understand attachment. And so we started on Friday. By Thursday, it was wonderful, but it wasn't easy. And by Thursday, I was like, man, I'm done. I'm done. But on Sunday, I didn't want to leave, and I still think about being there. And I could do another one here if it happens. So, but yeah, just those are just a few thoughts. Yeah, that I have, and I'm just feel blessed to be a part of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, Mitchell.
Hi, I'm Mitch. I went to the Pocket Ranch a lot back in the 90s. I can't remember the exact dates. The first time I did Star. And it changed my life, as many people have said. And recently I was on a couple of Zooms with Barbara. And I wasn't quite sure what she was trying to do. And basically what she was trying to do is say, give me a call. And over the past several months, I've been thinking, oh, I should call Barbara. And I never did. And found out that she had passed. And I regret, of course, not just calling her. And I wanted to be on this call to sort of get the echoes of Barbara, the feeling, the wisdom, the lack of fear, the courage that she said in facing things. I'm just glad to be here to see all you echoes of that transformation. And I'm sad. That's it.
Thanks, Mitch. Leanne. Your turn.
Well, hi. Well, there's so much to say. Went to Star in about 2001, and I think before that moment, there was just something so, this shadow side was just so hidden in what had happened and how it was related to my birth and family then later. So, when I went to Star, of course, it was life-changing, as you say, and meeting Barbara and being there, I just wanted to immediately go back. So I went back after that, like for a New Year's. And then somehow years and years passed and I didn't get to go back. And at another difficult time in my life, I went to see Barbara and work with her personally. That was just a few years ago. And it was such a wonderful experience. It was really, it was again kind of profound in the way that Star was profound, to work with her personally and know her and just spend time with her. And we did another rebirth and Margot was there. I got to meet Margot too. And I was really privileged to be with these two women. They both just, it was just so beautiful. In Barbara and you know, and you too, Margot, there, I saw this every version of womanhood. It's like the child, you know, the teenager, the adult, the mother, you know, the wise woman. All of this, you know, I spent that time with Barbara and I saw each aspect of that in her as we spent time together. And it was one of my, I really regret that I didn't spend more energy focusing to get back. And she's been on my mind so much. At one point I called her and it was just, wasn't a good moment. But also, it's happened to me before where the mentors in my life, as they pass, I've known. I've just known. I was desperate to get a hold of Barbara that week, you know, that she passed. And I don't know, I called the ranch, I was calling different places, but I never did get an answer. But I was just because I just wanted to just hear her voice one more time. You know, I feel her loss like we all do, but I also feel like I feel her presence. So I don't feel completely bereft, but sad. You know, that I can't call her and see her again and just have some more fun at the ranch. Have her thoughtful presence and listening and her goddess energy there again. You know, and that ranch too. You know, and the place that she created, it was very sacred. And I hope we can all make that in the world as her legacy.
Thanks, Leanne. Okay, David.
Yes, I did my star in November of 1991. And 2 months later, in February of 92, I became Barbara's assistant. And I also coordinated the star program. My husband and I, Phil, spent many years at the Pocket Ranch. And Barbara became a close friend. And we are fortunate to live in Alameda where her son Reed lives. So consequently, I saw Barbara quite a bit. And whenever she came for dinner, we always had to have baked potato. That was probably her favorite food. I spoke to her just about a week or so before she fell, and I miss her dearly. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay, Dina.
Hello. I'm not a star person. However, I'm here to honor Barbara for what she created at the Pocket Ranch. I got to benefit greatly from that. I do residentials nationally, internationally. And in the 90s and 2000s, I was privileged to do my psychodrama residentials there. I remember when I first went to check out this place down in Tubac, as I was looking for a place to do my residentials, and Barbara showed me around the property. And she showed me the art room, and then this room, and then this. But what came to me when she showed me the property was the love when she talked about the people that were coming there and the work they did. And she showed me some of the papers, and she would take me where people put stars or their rocks or whatever. And it was like the spirit of all of you were so much in her that I said, this is the place I'm doing my residentials. And I started doing my residentials there. Barbara also invited me back to present for one of her New Year Christmas things that was very special with the ricochet and all that was there. I felt very honored. So I'm here to honor a woman that created a space that spirits could heal in from all kinds of modalities. And I feel bad. She wrote me in August to come to a meeting there in August, and I couldn't make it. and I'm really sad. But I am thrilled to hear everyone's stories because I feel like she's walking me through the property again. So thank you all.
Thank you. Catherine.
I'm hearing so many people talk about wishing they'd had a little more of Barbara, but I also think we all, had just the right amount. And one of the things that was extraordinary about her was her emotional grace. I never felt that she ever made people feel that they should have done more, she needed something more. The proportion always felt at peace. And I have no unfinished business with her, as much as I would have loved to have spent more time with her if the pandemic hadn't prevented that. But I was on staff many times, and I want to tell a story that's very Star and very Barbara, which is that one day, in a feeling session, after some men had been bellowing all kinds of aggressive, violent things and actually scaring a participant. And then this group of women ended up out there spontaneously. Some of them were my participants, some of them were other people's, but they had made a bond. It was a group of 4 young women in their late 20s, early 30s who had had very parallel trauma. And they were beating on the bag and shouting and yelling, and there were tears and there was rage. And then we decided to finish with something positive. And they were just hitting the bag. And then one of them suddenly shouted out, "I deserve great orgasms." And then another one took it up, and then they were chanting together and beating the bag and shouting at the top of their lungs, "I deserve great orgasms." And it was a triumph, and they were just so pleased with themselves. And it was just a great sort of breakthrough moment. And then about 20 minutes later, the police came, because the neighbors, who apparently had never been concerned enough to call the police when men were shouting about murder and all kinds of brutal things, scary sounding men roaring, but women shouting that they deserve great orgasms, the police were summoned. And Barbara's way of dealing with it, in addition to placating the police, was to meet with the neighbors, and she sent them to the movies every day during feeling sessions for the remaining 2 days of feeling sessions. And that was her solution. And as much as she might have sort of given a little bit of lip service to, let's not go too far, folks, we have neighbors here. There was something about her. I could see the twinkle. She was utterly delighted with what had happened.
Thanks, Catherine. It's a good one. Adam.
Thanks, Kenny. Good to see all these faces. Lots of people I don't know, a couple that I do, including Margot and Jed and Darcy and Kimberly. It's so good to see you. I talked to Margot a couple days after Barbara departed, and we had a great talk, and felt good to get some feelings out and remember our friend. And I feel in a different spot today coming here. I just feel so grateful, and these stories just give me so much joy. Some of them stretching back to times when I wasn't even alive yet, and here's this woman doing the work. I've never met anyone so committed and so compassionate and so forever open, and I'm forever grateful for it. I work from home here in suicide prevention policy, and Barbara said the smartest things about that topic that I've ever heard from anyone. And I'll always hold on to that, because everything that she did came with compassion. And the thing that I hold from Star is the closing exercise. I don't know if everyone had the same closing exercise, but it involved a meditation and going into a mountain and taking something from that mountain, from the caves inside of it, that you could bring home with you. And I had this little rock, little purple rock. And it sits with me every day, just at my desk. And yeah, I just, one person was able to change a life and to change so many lives, and to be able to carry that little bit with me as a reminder has just been really special for the years since I've done STAR. Truly changed my life. I'm just so grateful to be a witness to your stories and to have known Barbara for the time that I did.
Thanks, Adam. Allison.
Hello, hello. Hi, Kenny. Hi, so many of you I haven't seen in so many years. Really warms my heart. So Barbara, yes, such a visionary and brilliant pioneer. I think the thing that I love most about Barbara, though, is the absolute unchained wild child inside of her. And the way she was just unapologetically and incorrigibly herself. What a role model. What a role model. And I think the best way I can honor her is the ways in which she gave me permission for that wild child inside of myself. And as we were waiting for this, I remembered I wrote a STAR song that we used to play at the end of STAR for all those years. And while I was waiting, I did a search on my computer and I found it. And so I think I don't have my guitar, so I don't know that I can hold the tune, but who cares? Barbara wouldn't care. So if you can share screen, I can put it up here for you. If you can give me share screen, Kimberly.
You should be able to.
Permission.
I don't.
There we go. Cool. Share. There it is. So those of you that remember can sing along. And the name of the song is actually the whole song, and that STAR is the answer. So I'm going to give this a try. When you're traveling down the back streets of your mind and you see that there's roadwork up ahead, well, get yourself a ticket on that express bus and come to STAR instead. Yes, STAR is the answer and STAR is the cure. If one time don't do you, then just come back for more. When you can't seem to find your own true voice, and your papa's words start coming out of you, and you're obeying mama's rules when you know that she's a fool, well, time to get you some new tools. When your inner kids are always acting out, 'cause you never give them the time of day, and you keep them all shut in and forget to check in, well, time to find you a new way. Yes, STAR is the answer and STAR is the cure. If one time don't do you, then just come back for more. When your prim and proper mask is wearing thin, and your shadow is threatening to leak through, and your essence is all bound, you're adult, it can't be found, and you don't have a clue of what to do. When you're feeling like your mind's about to crack, and the loony bin is calling out to you, your grin is barely pasted on, and your truth, it just seems gone, and relief seems long overdue. So when you find you're chasing every single rainbow, and your dreams never seem to come true, and the monsters inside are taking you for a ride, well, for STAR, you're long overdue. Yes, STAR is the answer and STAR is the cure. Reclaiming your true self, that's what STAR is for. Yes, that's what STAR is for. So just come back for more. And that's for me the essence of Barbara. Thanks.
Great.
Yeah,
Just great, lovely, wonderful.
that was great. Thanks, Allison.
Yeah, thank you.
Judith, you're next.
Yeah, hi.
I wasn't going to say anything, but then there's a completion, I think, that's being called forth. So I went to Pocket Ranch in 1991 before it was even open, and stayed for 6 weeks and then went back the next year for Star. And like so many of you, it totally altered my life. I was depressed and didn't even know it, but I went originally in the middle of a spiritual emergency. And, my life now is so wonderful. It's almost like the older I am, the better it gets. And I know that would not have been possible. That Star and Pocket Ranch were the turning point. And I was surprised at one point to read Barbara's book and realize that I was in it. I had to call her to check, but really what I want to do is thank everyone who helped hold all of those programs together. I know that Barbara, wonderful as she was, and of course she was, didn't do it by herself. It's a huge community of people, and I was able to thank Barbara, and Margot, I know I've thanked you, but I hadn't thanked Vilma. So Vilma, I hope you're there still. I just want you to know what a difference you and everyone have made in my life. And I'm in great shape. I hadn't been in touch to really let you know that. So I think that's really it. Thank you to everyone. And I am so glad to be part of this community with you. And I know that the effect of Barbara's work and Star and all the individual work that she did, it's like that is still expanding out into the universe through all of us. So thank you. And glad to meet those of you I don't know.
Thanks, Judith. Kirsha. You're up, Kirsha. I'm muted. You're muted, Kirsha.
Got it. Thank you. And thanks, Ken, for doing this. I want to shout out to some of the community that I have been fortunate to work with, along with working with Barbara for a lot of years. I was the body worker for many, many years at many of the stars, in numbers of the places that Star took residence for a while. And it was such a blessing in my life, so many ways. So I want to say hello to Ken and to Vilma. Hello, Vilma and Pat, Margot, Bill, and Trish, who I've known for a long time. And Helen and to Alice. And I haven't seen many of you for a long time. And like so many of you, Star was formative in how my life progressed. And I speak about it all the time to so many people. I believe Barbara to be just a beautiful spirit that obviously touched so many people's lives that I don't even know if I know how many possible connections that she made. I've run across people who knew of her through their own teachers, and so it makes a connection right there. I wanted to tell one story that was kind of personal, and it was just between me and Barbara. I think Barbara really loved her massage, and it was after during one of the stars, and it was in the redwoods. I remember standing out on the deck and touching the trees and just loving being in that space. And just given Barbara a massage and told her I'd see her up at the main lodge. And I finished closing things up like I try to do when I'm through doing my work and getting it set for the next round. And I kind of forgot where I was, but I tied everything together. And I went out, opened the door, went out on the deck, and there was this little kid sitting out on the deck. And I was like kind of shocked because I hadn't seen any children at all. And then I realized it was Barbara. She looked to be about 3 years old. And she just turned around and gave me this 3-year-old look with a huge smile on her face. And I just felt like she did like that massage, and she did like getting into that place. And it was just such a gift for me to see such beauty. And her regression was perfect. And I really appreciated it. And we'll miss her. I'll miss her so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirsten. Okay, Paula.
Yes. Apparently you see me, but I don't know where we are. I got lost when I went to the bathroom. Kim?
Paula, I sent you an email. Maybe leave the meeting and try coming back in. So I sent you the link via email.
Oh, okay.
But
All
if
right.
you see a little Zoom icon in your top of your computer screen, if you click that, it should bring you back.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the Zoom icon other than Zoom US is.
Well, it looks like a video camera.
Looks like a video camera. I see one on the bottom. Hang
here
on. Oh, this one. Wait, Zoom on the bottom. Start my video. Sorry, guys. Oh, I'm back. Sorry, I always was a technological dunce of the group. They were kind enough to help me through, especially Kimberly. Thanks, Kimberly.
So are you gonna talk, Paula? I think you got muted again. I guess not.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Kimberly for getting me back from the bathroom. Those who know me, I know me as the technological klutz of the group. So I have nothing to say, except I'm glad to be back.
Welcome back.
Yeah, you're one of the technological klutzes. There's a few of us. Okay, Arlene.
Okay, just a second. I'm in the middle of making some matzo ball soup. I did STAR, I think it was in 91 or 92. I was very depressed. And it was holotropic breath work. The first time I did it, I just started laughing and I didn't think that I could laugh anymore. And I couldn't wait for the second one. And I did it during the 21-day STAR at Pocket Ranch. And the second holotropic breath work, I started to cry and I couldn't stop. And I didn't have any words for what was bringing these tears. And Barbara came over to me and I said, I don't know what I'm crying about. And she said to me, it sounds like a lifetime of grief. And that really hit it right on the head. And the family sculpt was very powerful for me. Reed was actually played my father. And I went back and I did STAR a second time. And I sent my husband, Dan. And then I was a gopher. And that was the most phenomenal experience, just being there, videotaping Barbara as she did birth regressions. I mean, you really saw her brilliance and her intuition. And I kept in touch with STAR. I don't remember what year it was that my son Jed was sort of at a crossroads in terms of his career. And at that time, we used to have a STAR support group here in Atlanta. And Sandra, whose name I can't remember right now, used to lead it. And there was a gift. So somebody was going to get $2,000 off the tuition. And I don't remember what the process was, but I won the $2,000 off. And so we asked our son Jed if he wanted to go. Jed, who you've heard from, very proud of Jed. He's been very involved in STAR. And what was so difficult for me was I thought that I was very special to Barbara. And then when Jed did STAR, it was clear to me that I felt like Barbara liked him better. So I was having sibling rivalry with my son, which was, but I was just grateful that Barbara saw things in Jed. I mean, Jed's a very special human being, and he was able to give a lot of his intellect and intuition to the whole STAR Foundation. And I've been very proud of him. I used to love it when Barbara would come to Atlanta to see Annie Love or to do workshops. And once I had an afternoon with her and I said, I don't know what we should do together. So what does your kid want to do? I said, well, my kid just always likes to go to Lake Lanier and go boating. And she said, so let's go. And so I took her boating at my lake house, and she was just so delighted. And I cooked for her, and she loved it when I made lamb chops and chicken soup. And, she was just so special to me. And I will miss her. And I guess thinking about her being dead, I went to the cemetery here in Atlanta today where my husband is buried. He died about 5 years ago. And I was glad that he went to STAR because it gave us a common language that we didn't have before. And I just will always be grateful that she was in my life. Thank you for this opportunity.
Okay. Thanks, Arlene.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is Nikki.
There it is.
Got
it. I'm a STAR baby from October of '90. And I went back as a gopher, and I went back as a reader, and I went with Barbara to Mexico for a workshop on the Council on Miracles. And I think of Barbara often, and my fondest memory of Barbara and the thing that really turned my life around was we were supposed to read our shadow self, what we had written about our shadow self in a big group, in the group, which was, for me, was about, I think there were 13 of us. And then, there were all the readers and everybody else. And I was the second one, and I volunteered to do it. And once I had read it, there was total silence. And I was so scared. I thought, these people are never going to speak to me again. And I felt really close to everybody. And the session came to an end, and I was sitting on the floor, and everybody left, and I couldn't get up. And Barbara came over to me and she said, is there something I can do for you? And I said, yes, you could give me a hug. And she came down on the floor with me, and she put her arms around me and pulled my legs onto her lap. And she just held me like I was a little child. And she held me and held me and held me. And that's one of the most healing things that has ever happened to me. I felt such unconditional love. And I felt that from a lot of people out there. Vilma and Helen were there at that time. And I felt the same thing there. But when I went to STAR, I was so full of grief and shame and fear. And when I left, I felt really free. And at times I have to remember my experiences at Pocket Ranch because I go back into that space again. So I so appreciate all of you all, and thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Okay, next in line is Elaine.
Am I unmuted?
You are.
I did star in October 1986 at the Pocket Ranch. And of course, that's when Barbara gave me my life. And I just, I went back for another workshop in the early 2000s in Tubac, and haven't been in touch with Barbara for a while, but I just contacted or tried to find information on STAR for my nephew. And I heard then that Barbara had passed away just last week, and it just devastated me really, but I agree that she's going to be with us forever. And I appreciate that. It's lovely to see you all. And Helen, I sent you a message because I think we're related. Thanks.
Thanks, Elaine. Okay, next up is Margot. It's your turn, Margot. If you can get unmuted.
There,
Yeah.
am I on?
Yep.
Okay. I have three things that I would like to share. First of all, I want to go back to the Friday before Barbara passed on. And I was sitting at my desk in my bedroom, looking at her picture, focusing on it. And then I went to bed, and I want to share with you what happened. I went into a meditation and I watched the negative pain come out of her as she ascended. And I know people think, well, you're crazy, and I am. And I watched the pain come out of her as she ascended to heaven. And this is what I wrote. Let go of worldly attachments. I see you ascending through tears of joy to God who is your home, to my loving teacher and co-worker, sister and special friend, Barbara Findeisen. Okay, that's the first thing, okay? The second thing is that it's probably before that, I met Barbara at APA Amherst Conference in 1992. And I saw her speaking and I said, I want to sign up for that. So I did. And here is the third thing. I am, as some of you know, a writer. And can you see me? I just see N. Is that me? Did you mute me?
No, you're going.
No.
You're good. You're
Okay,
good.
okay. So I am in the process of writing another book because I was supposed to rewrite Kids Learn from the Inside Out, and I was a second author, so I don't have the copyright. So I'm writing another one. And I want to tell you the name of it. The process, enhancing childhood development, translating motor actions to mental actions. And I am going to dedicate that to Barbara Findeisen. And here's the third thing, or the fourth thing. I received a CD from a friend, Kim Shipway, and it was Barbara reading her favorite passages from the Course of Miracles. And it's on a CD, and it's wonderful. And I don't know if Kim's online. He sent it to me, and so maybe he can send it to other people. It was, what I want to say about it, I do my exercises when I'm listening to her talk about the Course of Miracles. And her voice was so strong that I'd have to stop doing my exercises because I'd have to listen to her. So anyway, I think that's about it. And I miss her. I met her 24 years ago, and I am proud of having worked with her with many birth regressions, doing the healing part of it. And I'm looking forward to doing more of that. I'm not sure with whom, but I'm ready. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Margot. Kimberly.
Hello. I didn't know if I was going to speak, but a few things kind of, I don't know, brought me around to it. One, I want to say hi to my star friend, Adam, and this is my stone, my piece of citrine that I actually saw during that vision. I woke up in it, sat up in it, almost poked me in the eye, really. And this was exactly what I saw. And isn't that just a star? It's just whatever is, and that's okay. Something Catherine was speaking about reminded me of my own moment of I think showing anger for the first time in my life, and it was my second star. I did two back to back. I figured might as well just get the show on the road here, and came back to the next one. And I remember during the first one, I said, I feel like I can't get angry. We're sitting there and she says something passing, like, well, maybe it'll just come to you. And fast forward to May, I was ending my marriage, and I said, do not bother me. Do not contact me. I'm here for me, and that's it. Well, lo and behold, a package shows up. And I beat can I say shit? I beat the shit out of the box all the way across the desert. I was in the little rooms kind of sandwiched next to the group house there, and screamed and yelled and just kicked the body slammed it, and then I launched it over the little fence there. And I mean, I was covered in dirt and had burrs like in my hair. I went to grief group right after, so it was a great time to have that moment. And she comes to me later, she's like, well, where did you find that box? Where'd you get it? And I told her, and she said, what was in it? I don't know. I found out later it was jewelry. And I told her, and she just thought that was the most hilarious thing. She said, we just all thought you found some random box. And we're like, whatever. She said, it came to me. So whatever was going to help me get my anger out, it would just come to me. And it literally came to me in a box at Star. And she was just so tickled by the fact that I beat up a box that had jewelry in it and launched it just clear away. And hopefully somebody finds it and makes use of it, or if not, it's where it belongs. So even to this day, whatever happens to that jewelry, it is what it is, and it's all okay. And I think that's what Star has given all of us, just being, whatever is, and it doesn't mean we're bringing it with us. Maybe we do, maybe we don't, but in any event, it's all okay. So thank you.
Thanks, Kimberly. Brian.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Kenny. I got a big grin on my face through most of this. And the reason is I'm getting to see a whole bunch of people that I wouldn't have known had I not gone to Star in 93. And I wouldn't even begin to get into the stories, because I don't believe you ever get to know somebody like you do at Star. It's truly amazing. But anyways, it's great to see you all. And I just have incredibly fond memories of each and every one of you. And you often show up in stories I tell my community in the now, because there were such profound things that happened. I mean, I like to keep it simple. I showed up at Star and I was terrified and dark and angry. It was all at the surface. Some of the gals I did Star with on the bus ride up to Geysersville said, oh my God, what have we done? Look at this guy. They told me that later. Fast forward, having met Barbara and everything that she created and the people she created it with. When I went home and Eastern Airlines was in business, I remember thinking on the plane, I don't even need this plane. I could fly home. And Star had that kind of power. And Barbara had that kind of power. And as far as I'm concerned, in the mythical sense, when I think of Barbara, I think of a gatekeeper. She was a magnificent gatekeeper for those she chose to bless. I mean, for me, there was before Star. I mean, it wasn't all bad. There's a lot of good in my life, but Then there was After Star and Barbara. And what an amazingly broad highway that's been. And so what I'm here to do, and it's really heart fulfilling, is just to celebrate the genius of this magnificent woman who I had the great good fortune to know and then to work with. What a blessing. And so thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Let's see. I don't know if people are tired. I'm thinking, Kimberly, can you play that loop again a little bit? We'll take a little break. You can obviously you can leave. We may be finished. I'm not sure. I think. Well, I don't know if we're going to be finished. So I'll just say for me, real quick. I always had trouble trusting, and since Barbara, that's changed. I mean, I'm still not great at it, but she was the first, and because of her, that changed. So for me, that's huge. Okay, so Kimberly, if you could put that loop on, and it's got music, and for some of you it might I mean the feelings come up. For me it's like right there. So and I'm actually, oh, David's here. Hey, David. I'm going to run to the restroom for 2 minutes and then I'm going to come right back. So and if we could play that loop, it might inspire some other people to share or not, but we'll come back and get David. So 2-minute break.
I guess growing isn't hard to do. Just stand against the wall. Once I was just 2 feet high. Today I'm 6 feet tall. But knowing who to listen to is something else again. Words just whistle around my head like seasons in the wind. All across the water there's clouds are sailing. They won't let me look at the sky. All I wanna do is try and find myself. Come and let me look in your eyes. In searching for the way to go, I followed all the rules. The way they say to choose between the wise men and the fools. I listen to the words they say. I read what I should read. I do whatever's right to do. Try to be what I should be. Someone let me in, I think the sky is falling. Seems I've gotten lost on my way. All I wanna do Come and let me look in your eyes. Come and let me look in your eyes. But wisdom isn't underground, nor on a mountainside. Where am I to take myself? There's no place here to hide. Where can I hide? All across the universe, the stars are fading. Seems we've gotten lost on our way. All I wanna do is try and find myself. Come and let me look in your eyes. Come and let me look in your eyes. Come and let me look in your eyes. Life is full of losses, pains we face inside, like the passing of our fathers, the son's last goodbye. Letting go's not easy when we're taught to hold the past. The fear of no tomorrow keeps grief in our grasp. There's a road the faithful have followed, a world where happiness won't hide, where dreams arise from our sorrows, and doors forever open wide, where love abides.
Okay. We got some more ready to share. And first up is David.
Hey, Kimmy.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did star in the early 90s, and Helen and Vilma were there for my star. And it was Pocket Ranch was pretty amazing back then. I started out doing massage, but then later was a reader in Arizona, and I found that magic was in both places. To me, when I think of Barbara, just the miracles of the transformation of everybody was just kind of blew me away. I just want to share some of my most sacred memories with Barbara. And the closing circle, the eye contact, it was hard to really get through that without crying. But her energy just in that eye contact was so amazing. Also, like the birth regressions, I was able to kind of facilitate with her some of them, and just seeing her work and her attention and just her love coming out of her energetically was so strong. She had a sacred pipe that she would do ceremonies with, and they were just it was so amazing to see her in all these different ways. I think one memory I had in Santa Cruz, was Barbara and I went to a Occupy Wall Street meeting, and there was like 250 people, 300 around in this park, and she got up and she started talking about, I know a building, we can go over there and we can start protesting there. And everybody stood up and started applauding her. It was just pretty amazing. Her energy just was not only at Star, but everywhere she went. It was a treasure to be around her and to witness her, just her energy and reminder that we're all human and we're part of a human tribe. So I'm very grateful to have known Barbara and to know all the people that she brought into my life. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Okay, next is Christine. And you're still muted, Christine. Can't see you, that's okay, but we can't hear you either.
Hi.
There you
Sorry.
are. Sure.
Can you grab them real quick? What? Sorry, I got my dogs. I just wanted to say that Barbara had a huge impact twice in my life, and I also want to thank Pat Martin, Bill Williams, Wilma, and all of you for showing yourself. I think that the only regret that Barbara ever had was that she wished she could have been a better mother to her own children. And this is for you, Reed, Mark. She loved her family as well as her extended family. And I just wanted to say that she had such a huge impact in my life. And I loved her and I appreciate everything she did. So thank you.
Thanks, Christine. Okay, there's nobody in line here, so if you're on the edge, you're thinking maybe not, now's the time if you want to share anything.
Can I share, but I don't know how to get into the hand.
You bet, you're up. You can share.
I'm like, I don't know how to do that. So I think I went in 86, but it was somewhere in that time frame. And there was one person who talked who I think was when I was there, and it was at Pocket Ranch. And I was in the beginning of a divorce. And I had gone to another program in Oakland, California, which turned out to be, well, where'd we go? Turned out to be very painful, a very, very painful experience. And somebody told me about Star, I don't know who. And I was so upset from this other thing I'd gone to that I went. I had a 16-year-old daughter who I made arrangements for her to be home. I actually wound up rupturing my appendix at Star. I guess that tells you how powerful things were. And Star did learn something from that experience because they really thought I was faking it when I said, no, I'm really in pain. And they kept saying, no, you're fine, you're fine. But I wasn't fine. Anyway, the thing that I really remember getting out of it, Barbara and I really had a love of flowers. So we communicated at Christmas time and periodically, and we always talked about our flowers and our gardens. I did not know how to hug, and I did not know how to look people in the eye when I went to Star. And Star taught me how to hug people and how to talk to them and look at them, which was very scary at the time, as you can well imagine. I also remember my birth regression, and I don't have my tape anymore because my house burned down in 2017. and my tape burned with it. But I remember clearly not wanting to be born, not wanting to come out, and her having to really coax me. And a lot of things that happened with that, and how it happened with the sound events that we did. And I was born during the beginning of the war, and my father was gone. And it sort of clarified for me a lot of things that I was feeling that all had to do with my being born during that time. So it was really, really powerful from that point of view, and the body work. And I don't like loud noises. And I really had a tough time during that part of the process because I could not handle those loud noises. But that all came from planes flying over and bombs being dropped. And so it really, really helped clarify a lot of things. And I can now look at people and I can now hug people. So when I heard that she had passed, my heart just fell. I mean, I was just like, oh my, this person who just was so amazing to so many people. And even though we have her in spirit, she was really something else. And we're all blessed to have been connected with her. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you. I agree. Okay, Kirsha, you're up. You're up. No, he's still muted.
Mute.
You got it. You got it.
Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to mention how I'd gotten in touch with Star at the very beginning. I was in San Francisco in a new relationship with, some of you know, Analia, or you may have known her as Layla Brooke, and she was very early on at the Star Building working with Barbara. And I know it was very transformative for her. And she was the one who gifted me with doing Star, and she's not with us any longer. And she would have loved to have been here. And I just want to thank her and thank her for her gift and for getting me into Star and for introducing me to Barbara, and just wish she was here. And we'll miss her and we'll miss Barbara. So thanks for letting me double up.
Sure. Thank you. Corey, your turn. You're still muted. Still muted. You're still muted. Nothing yet.
You just want to move on one, and we'll leave Corey at the top of the queue there and
Yeah.
go with.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Tony, you're up.
Yes. Barbara of blessed memory, you are so dear to my heart. I know on some level you were there watching all of this unfold for you. The love is incalculable. I've known Barbara since the end of the last century, so to speak, and as a recipient of the Star Process, an incredible opening for me. But then I became very, very close with Barbara. I was on her board of directors for over a dozen years, close bond with all of my family. And very few times in one life you will encounter such beings that cross your path, and that she was one of them. And I know that in a very, very special way, she's here now observing all this incredible woman that had the gift of getting into the child for all of us. And I think that's what's the amazing thing about her, that the ability to get down to that child level and bring the joy of being young again in so many levels. Anyway, the bottom line is I miss you, my dear woman. I love you as we all love you here. And may your gentle spirit carry you into the next dimensions. Much love from the heart.
Thanks, Tony. Okay, let's see, Anne.
How's this?
That's good. You got it.
I know I can do this in STAR. That's something I learned to do in STAR, is to make sound, and to learn that I can need. And I was part of STAR in 18, and then I went again in 19. And I never met Barbara, but she obviously lives in all of us. And I guess it's important to tell you that I needed you all this afternoon. And it feels really good to feel STAR in my heart again. It was a really important time, and I've learned to feel more and to make sound, words, attach words to my feelings more. And I'm very moved. I'm glad. I'm glad. So thank you all for being here today and letting me cry on this, and having you all witness me cry, because it's part of my sound. And thank you, Barbara, for bringing us all together. That's it.
You got it. Thank you. Okay, Barbara.
So, well, I have Parkinson's, and so I have some challenges, and I'm in one of my episodes right now, so I'm not very smart. But I love Barbara. Major person in my life. I met her at the Transpersonal Psychology Conference in Santa Rosa. I don't know what, 1980, 1979. Barbara sat on my board. Barbara and I walked on the beach with our dogs. Those Labradors, you know. Barbara we'd go like this. I'm going to give you a penny, and that's our. I'm a family therapist, and she's a family therapist, so we could talk. We can say anything we wanted to each other, and we know it would stay confidential, and it would stay between us. Most amazing thing is, I had our board meeting August 15th, and Barbara came. She came up through Zoom. And then life is so fragile, and then she's gone. So frightening. But I have a video of that board meeting. And I have a video of what we talked about and what she talked about, her latest thoughts. That is very comforting because she's so beautiful. Thank you, David Hobby. You did good work with Barbara. I really appreciated you there. And Rinpoche, what I've got for Barbara is I got the monks and the Dalai Lama monks chanting for Barbara. Because I know Barbara had a Tibetan Buddhist connection and she really liked Rinpoche. Forget Rinpoche. And he really liked her. They were really connected. And this is what he recommends. We chant for Barbara, you know, the Tibetans, monks. So we're doing that. And I'm carrying her heart in my heart and love her. And I hope I love all the multiplied love in the room here in this space. It's good. And good send off. Maybe she find peace. Yeah.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay, Corey, let's try this again.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, I appreciate being able to see some of you that I know. I don't know who's all on here, but Kenny and Kimberly and Margot, Brian, Michelle, Ian, some of the names and faces that I know. Yeah, I did 2 stars, and I got to work with Barbara. She worked with me. I went to her ranch, and she worked with me individually. And I'm also a therapist, and she taught me as I was on a ranch. In one moment, I was just her friend, and then another moment, I was her client. And she just moved so easily through to both of those. And I was taught to not have dual relationships, and she forced me to question the importance of that. And it's just helped me so much to just be a person, not get so caught up in these titles and roles. And so just leave it at just continue to just be astounded how I seem to have known her for such a short period of time, but she just rings as one of the most important people in my life. So thank you so much, Barbara, and I'll miss you.
Thanks, Corey. Steve, your turn. Hi. You need to unmute yourself.
Funny how I'm being told to talk when that's been the problem of my life, that I talk too much, right, Jed? And yeah, so like I kind of feel that it's interesting that I was a participant in the last star retreat that Barbara would have done. And so waiting here amongst all you great people, I'm thinking I'm less than for a good part of this. And then I would go back and forth and realize that when I look at my individual accomplishments that I got out of Star and with Barbara at the last Star, which was amazing. And I think about things in my life that have improved: family, business, personal, health. And I really feel powerful. And I start to think, wow, we're all equal because we all have equal stories of a time shared with Barbara. The last retreat, I found it fascinating when I got there. I didn't know anyone, like everyone else attending for the first time. And one of the first people I met was Margot with her stickers. And I have I still have my Star water bottle that I use every day. And, I just feel like I had look who's talking, thanks to Star and Kimberly and everyone. And I use this as a mantra in addition to my meditation and everything else. But the first time I saw Barbara was amazing. She was just so gentle And she looked at me and she really seemed like she gave a shit about who I was. And one of the things I enjoyed most during the 12 days, I think it was, that I spent with her was walking her to the car after a meal, whether it was lunch, breakfast, dinner, walking her down. We were at the the Arizona Mexico border. So we were at that ranch, but just walking her arm in arm, helping her into Margot's car to take her back to her lodge. I think that was kind of special. And we shared moments together. And that's about it. I thank everyone. I think just being on this call was really funny. I was going to not say anything, and I had all these incredible ideas of greatness that if I didn't share, I would hear someone else sharing and imparting wisdom, and I shouldn't talk because I would miss hearing that. And then I would listen more and more and more. And it's amazing that everyone's story is like a therapy session, and every person's share. There's wisdom, there's nuggets, there's pearls. And I'm grateful for being on here with all of you and seeing everyone that I do know. It brings me back to the ranch, just like for others, when they see other participants, I think they feel the same way. That, and I want to thank you, and I love you all. Peace.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, once again, I see a hand. Let's see, Tricia, you got your hand up? You're next.
Thank you. I didn't know how to do the hand.
Sure, okay.
Bill and I, my husband Bill and I took STAR and met Barbara, I think in 1974 or 75. So we're probably the oldest participants. And at Kirsha, it's so nice to see you, I have to say, back from those days. And I feel as though Barbara was a transformational personality in my life and in my relationship with Bill and our marriage and our relationship with our parents. And I remember after a STAR session going to my mother and telling her that I was ready to forgive her. I don't know if you experienced that as part of the STAR process. And my mother looked at me as if to say, for what? She was totally shocked. And I know Bill went to his mother and said, I forgive you. And she went to the bedroom and closed the door and probably cried. Anyway, Barbara became a client of Bill's, obviously an architectural client, and she became a personal friend, and Bill and I were participants in her STAR groups and became readers and are still involved with the people we knew back then. And she was particularly supportive when we had children. We have 2 daughters, and we had a family bed, which I think the girls slept with us until they were almost 9. And I nursed them, you know, as Bill says, I nursed them until they went off to college. It's not, that's a slight exaggeration, but Barbara was very supportive of us and the ways in which we were raising our children. And she opened a whole world to us. And Bill and I will be forever grateful for knowing Barbara and her family. And we loved her. Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. Let's see. I'm looking for hands if there are other people who aren't sure how to do the thing. the reaction thing. I don't see any. So is there anybody else? Once again, I'll just say, might as well. Yeah, Margot. Yes, go ahead. Oh, you're still muted.
Am I unmuted?
No, yeah, you're unmuted.
Kenny, I want to thank you and Kimberly for this wonderful opportunity that you are giving us. And that's all I want to say. Did you get it?
Yeah. Well, thank you. And the board, the board, we all kind of did this.
Okay.
Mostly Kimberly. Okay. Anybody else? It's been a couple hours. I'm sure we all have stories for a lifetime. She saved a lot of our lives. So.
And it looks like there's someone in the chat here under the name Garrett.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually me. It's not Garrett. My name is William Keepin.
Okay, yeah, it just came up that way. So there you are.
Yeah,
See you.
sorry, I was on his Zoom. I was mistaken about the time, so I want to apologize for my late arrival. But I'm glad it's not over. I would like to just take a minute or two just to honor Barbara, if that's possible. I realize it's 2 hours into the. But can I do that?
Yeah, sure.
Very briefly, my name is Will Keepin. Sorry, I've got my background. I didn't realize this was happening now, so I just jumped on in case it was still possible. I met Barbara in Stockholm in 1984 and did STAR there, and then became a reader in her therapy, just about the background with STAR in Healdsburg for several years. And then my work had kind of carried me off in a different direction. But Barbara did her magic with me. She really initiated me into profound experiential psychotherapy. She did the primal scream therapy with me, which was the deepest healing that I had in that plus the holotropic breath work, which developed by Stan Groff, which she also introduced me to. The first time we did that was in one of the STAR programs. She'd come back from having just done it for her first time with Stan Groff, probably about 1986-ish, and was very excited. So she brought it to one of our STAR programs. And so that was my first introduction to that modality, which I later then became trained and certified facilitator and worked in that for many years, still do. So anyway, Barbara was just a major powerhouse of awakening for me, as well as the Course in Miracles, which helped to open me to the mystical Christ. So there are so many levels on which she was such a powerful influence. I was a scientist. I'm a scientist by training. So she helped me just remove all of that intellectual armoring and arrogance and just plow through all that and connect to my heart. When I met her in Stockholm, I had just come through a whole 3-year whistleblower intensive engagement in the scientific community. So I was incredibly defended and didn't even know it. And so that STAR process just helped me to unlayer and unravel. So my gratitude to Barbara is just immense. The way that she opened my life, and we stayed connected. I corresponded with her not too long ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, had a nice connection. And then the last time I sent her an email a couple of years ago, it didn't get through. So anyway, I won't take any more time other than to say that Barbara was such an incredible blessing in my life, as in so many. And I'm one of the people that she opened up so profoundly and gave me a direct infusion of a kind of spiritual awakening through the depth of her work, both her clinical work with me as a client and her professional work with me as a colleague. So I'm very grateful to just be here and share that with you today. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Will. Okay, I know I know somebody's out there who wants to say something, but they're not sure. Because if not, we're gonna end. So, Pat,
Yes,
you're up.
all right. Can everyone hear me? First, I just want to say thank you to everyone that participated. I've known Barbara since '85 when I took STAR, or a little bit before that, because I had a couple sessions with her, and there's so many. So our relationship has been almost 4 decades long, and we've had many, many experiences and wonderful experiences together. But I'd like to share with you one thing that was quite funny, is I had never done therapy, and Barbara was doing therapy. She was doing individual sessions in Denver on a regular basis, and I lived in Colorado at that time, in Boulder. So my colleague encouraged me to go see Barbara. So I had a couple sessions with Barbara, and I kept asking her about STAR because my friend had been to STAR. She said, well, Pat, I don't think quite ready. And then I had a third session with Barbara, and she said, whoa, I think you are, you can come. And so I went to Wildwood to do my STAR with Barbara. And what happened is I wasn't used to therapy. And so she said many things, and I didn't quite understand what I was to do. The inner child, that was confusing to me, many things. And then she showed this chart of when you're above the line and you're in knowingness. And I thought, what in the world does that mean? But what happened during my 21 days with her is I had a facilitator who simply was not, we weren't really hitting it off very well. And he was encouraging me to do something that just didn't feel right to me. But Barbara seemed bigger than life for me there. And so I was afraid to kind of talk with her, but finally it bothered me so much that I finally went to her and said, Barbara, can I talk with you? And she said, yes. And she took me into one of the back rooms. And so I shared with her what was going on for me. And suddenly the room became very white and yellow. And she began to shake her hands like that. And she said, do you feel that energy? And I said, yes, I do. And I said, so it was at that point that I said to her, oh, I think I may understand what knowingness means. And she and I just laughed and laughed. And from then on, it was just an incredible relationship for me. And I learned so much from her. And I'm terribly indebted to her for the gifts she gave to me.
Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome.
Kisha. Still muted.
Unmute.
There you go.
Okay, thanks for letting me come back on. I just want to say it's been so wonderful to hear what everyone has said, but also to have that little extra special connection to all of you that I have an extra special connection to. And thank you for taking the time to share. And I didn't want to forget to say a shout out to Bill Williams. Mwah. Thank you.
Thanks, Kisha. Okay. Chris, I saw your hand up for a minute. No.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I lowered it, but yeah, so I think, for me, and I think for a lot of people, we, came to STAR because, at least in my case, because of, abuse and trauma and all these other things. We were given the opportunity to, and I've seen a common thread here. We've all talked about, we got to rage, we got to grieve, we got to bond. And we learned how to do that, I think, appropriately. And those are valid things. But it is, okay, that was the obvious, majors of, childhood trauma and abuse. But I just want to add something to that. You know, I think in our, I'm finding, at least for me, in our culture, these things, we're not allowed to do these things. You know, we don't rage, grieve, and we don't bond. And so this is a continuing, I'm preaching, you know, to choir here, but this is a continuing process. And I feel like we need to notice that and take the time to, like what we're doing here today, we're celebrating and grieving and bonding. And so I just wanted to put my 2 cents in on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. This is like at Star, when people are shared, they're reading their declarations or their shadows, and people are like, yeah, I'm not gonna. Sometimes there's quite a break there, but this could be it. It's great seeing so many of you. I mean, Star is such a heart thing, and you see people, and it's a heart eyes. So anybody else, anything else? Give it a minute.
If I may, I have one short story to tell just about Barbara and her perinatal psychology. I think she was a true pioneer in that realm. And I just want to tell my experience. She used to do those birth regressions back in the Star days. I'm sure that still continued. But what a master she was. And I had an experience of reliving my birth in her birth regression, which I had certain things that happened that I was then able to later validate with my mother, which blew her away. And I know there's many stories, and I'm sure some of those have been told here in this session that I missed. But very briefly, what happened was when I came out of the womb, I took a pause when my head came through the birth canal and finally came out. And I relived that moment of coming into the world, and I stopped and I waited. And there was this pause in the whole birthing process. And I went through that. And then when I went to my mother, I went through that with Barbara. And I remember feeling the cooling feeling of the moisture on my head drying. And I was just marveling at being in this new realm of being half born. And I went through that in my birth regression with Barbara. And then I went back to my mother and I told her the story. And she was blown away. And she said, when you were born, the doctor said the head was coming, and then it came. And the doctor said the head has come. And then the doctors and nurses all went silent. And there was this whole moment of silence. And she said, I was freaked out. I started to worry because I thought maybe he has only one eye or he's missing an ear. And the doctors and nurses are freaked out because they're seeing something that I haven't seen yet. And so she told me she had this moment of fear there because she thought maybe something was wrong. And then she finally spoke and they said, no, the baby's just taking a pause. So exactly what I experienced in the birth regression with Barbara was then later validated by my mother. I know there's many, even much more dramatic stories of that, but I just wanted to bring that in because that was such an awakening for me. I'm trained as a physicist, and to have that kind of validation from this really very new, that was 1985 when she did that. So, that was like out of my realm. It was such a profound opening of the many that she brought into my life. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks again. Well, anybody else? I don't see anybody. If you want to speak up, if I can't see, yeah, Bill. You're muted. You're muted, Bill. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I got to add something. Tricia said, well, we took Star with Barbara, which we did, except we didn't take it from her. We took it from the same man that she took it from at the same time. He taught it in two places. And she took it in Palo Alto, we took it in San Francisco. But immediately she wasn't even licensed yet. She was working on getting her credential immediately after she took STAR. She said, you know, I was a Barbie doll. She said, I wasn't into any of this. It was my husband, Chuck, who dragged me, kicking and screaming into the human potential movement. Yeah, but she was bright, and she went after this new profession immediately. She wasn't a psychotherapist yet. This was 1974, and you know what happened? She just brought a lot to it fast. Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, are we done? I mean, oh, here's one. Tyson.
Can you hear me, Ken?
Yes. Yes, you're good.
I just wanted to say thanks everybody for sharing. This meant a lot. Going to STAR meant a lot for me, especially I had time to reflect and grow up. And I want to thank you for speaking today. You were at my STAR, and you helped me a lot. So thank you. And I'm gonna miss Barbara a lot. And she helped change my life. And I feel a little overwhelmed right now. But thank you everyone for speaking today. It meant a lot to me. And I'm crying kind of tears of joy. And Ken, it was really good to hear your voice. I miss you. And I miss Barbara. And I miss all of you. So thank you. Much love.
Thanks, Tyson. That's something about STAR. When people talk, and I mean, I guess for me anyway, I learned how to, you know, have heart, and you can feel it, and it's gold. So thanks. Anybody else? Okay, I think unless somebody speaks up, we're going to wrap this up and just keep going with Barbara in our hearts. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming. This was for you and us and Barbara, and we'll just carry it forward. Let's keep it going. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye everybody.
Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
to the
Bye,
board as
everyone.
well as Kenny. Love you, Steve.
Love you, Margot. Arlene, I'm coming over for some matzo ball soup tonight.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Kimberly.